Hello, Palladium fans. I'm here with not Kevin this week, but I'm here with Brandon of Star Anvil Studios because there is a kind of big announcement coming out of Star Anvil Studios. Brandon, welcome to the Palladium Books channel. How are you doing tonight?
Thanks for having me here.
Oh, my pleasure. So and this is kind of interesting because I've helped you with several crowdfundings on the Savage World side. I was being kind of starting my work with Palladium, and
Mhm.
both of you were talking about this project with very clear don't tell anybody about this. And so I didn't allow the streams to cross until finally everything was done, and they were like, well, did you know? I'm like, yeah, of course I knew from the beginning on both sides. But I'm not going to steal your thunder. Let's get into it. Brandon, do you want to make the announcement?
Savage Phase World.
I'm
So
very
yeah,
excited about this.
I've been working on this for a long time. Poor Sean's ear got burned up as I kept saying, we should do this. We should do this for a long time.
Yeah. So I want to talk about it, but let's start with what's your history with Rift's Phase World? Like what made you want to bring Phase World over to the the Savage World side of things?
Sure. What happened is number one, I was doing played riffs back, when it first came out. Loved the books. The art was just amazing. So, I mean, Kevin Long, especially, I think and I think Wayne, is it Bro? I don't know how to say
Wait,
his
bro,
name.
yeah.
Bro. Quite a bit of their art was what brought me in. And then I just loved the story, the ideas. And then, somewhere along the way, Phase World came out. And there was a couple of pieces of art in there. It's always the art that draws you in, right? And it was like there's a battleship. I think it's a CCW ship with just a big giant cannon right down the center. And then there's you know, the Woofin, who are now the Fenrir, by the way. Quatoria,
Oh
Cosmo
yeah, it's
Knights.
my
It's just
favorite. Like,
the setting itself is like, ooh, it's like Rifts but space. So all the crazy of magic and techno magic and whatever you want to say, all in there. And I'm just like, that's fantastic. I read that, had all the books during the unfortunate events in my life. At some point in time, I had to sell books. So I'm now just rebuying. I got all the PDFs, but I'm, going to buy them all back again now, especially now.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just the idea of it. And I just really like the idea of that sci fantasy, which is obviously a thing I'm into with other stuff I've done, but
Yeah.
especially how Phase World did it with the gates and the dimensions and all that stuff. It's just fantastic.
Oh yeah, and then you got kind of the Cold War setting with the Krieger Empire and
Mm-hmm.
United Worlds of Warlock and the CECW,
Yep.
and like
The
for me, I
Freedom
ran more
Fighters.
Phase World than Core Riffs, I think, because again, like I still remember walking into the my game store and seeing that bright electric blue cover
Yes.
with the monster eating people, but
Yep.
like there are people watching the monster eat people, and I was like,
What are they going to do? You see the size of that thing? Unless you can
yeah,
get it out of there, you're just,
what
that's
is
it.
going on here? I have to know. And yeah,
Yeah.
the Wolf in Quatoria was probably one of my second longest played character in my Rifts group. So you're bringing it to Savage Worlds. Now we have Savage Rifts. This is
Mhm.
Savage Phase World.
Right.
There's kind of a crowbar.
Well, they are definitely just so Palladium has been moving to separate their IPs to a degree, a lot. So Phase World is probably the biggest dimension series of books they expanded. I believe it's like five or is it six off the top of my head. The total, I think it's like six. My brain's kind of a little fried tonight, but it's 5, 6
Yeah.
books. Um, and so that had the biggest expansion, and it really stands on its own. So to be clear, you don't need to buy Savage Rifts to play this. It will stand on its own.
Yeah.
You'll still need your Savage Worlds book. It's a Savage World setting. That's how that goes. But you won't need to buy the book. But it will be cool to have both because the rules are going to be compatible.
You can still bring your juicer from Rifts
You
Earth.
could, yeah, you could say, what if they got into space? What if they went through a rift? I mean, you could do that. We're not saying you must have X, but you'll be able to use each could be a source to each other. They could complement each other. But they are standalone settings. Although Pinnacle has graciously allowed us to use several very, very important rules that will make it feel like, the rule sets are compatible. So that's going to be fantastic. Like we'll have iconic frameworks and Mars and so on.
Yeah. Blaze of Glory and
a couple other ones I'd have to look up. But yeah.
So coming to crowdfunding is going to be on Kickstarter. We're going to have a link. If you're interested at all, please follow the link in the show notes.
And tell all your friends.
There by Future Jan. Yeah, tell everybody. Like this is going to be, I mean, Star Anvil Studios has put out some amazing products. Starbreaker, I'm a huge fan of. Secret World, for both 5e and Savage Worlds, and you just put out the North America book.
Well, North America books kickstarted. We're finishing it up.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to do with Phase World. But it is, I mean, it's you and a couple of other people. You're a small company. So like the word of mouth growth is how this campaign is succeed.
Yeah. If the fans don't get other people to see it, there's no way we can have the kind of thing. This is going to be this will be the first Kickstarter where we're going to actually do a print run. We're not just going to do print on demand. So the obvious thing is the cost goes up because now you have to order a print, and I don't want to go into it a lot, but tariffs are going to have increased the cost of that printing. So if we don't have the fans bring us enough people, obviously we won't be able to succeed and bring this to life, which is would be disappointing for all of us.
For everybody involved, but especially for the fans who love Phase World.
Yeah, if you want more Phase World, you want more stuff like that, need your help.
But it's not just a print run.
Dice, bennies, equipment cards, threat cards for your monsters to reference, your archetype cards, the whole 9 yards. So that's going to allow us to, give you that whole everything to play at the table for those that want it. Obviously, the PDF digital options will be there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, I mean, right, so you mentioned the Wolfen are having a name shift. That's part of the
separation of IPs.
Yeah, separation of IPs. So they're now the
Fenrir.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, what are you most excited about? Like kind of putting all of this together. I know you've been working on it for over a year.
Oh, more than that. Well, getting to where if you count the time I was bending Sean's ear to convince him to let me do it. I mean, little history there. When I went to the Palladium houses, I just disappeared off the camera when I ducked a little bit. When I was going to the Palladium open house, which was how many years ago now?
Oh yeah.
Well, that's when I really started. So Sean and I, when Sean was doing more and more Savage Rifts, I was sent some message like, hey, I think this is this, or I'm curious about this. We had a really good rapport, right? We started talking more. And so then I was like, well, Sean and I became friends, and he would ask me, what do you think about this idea sometimes? Just a little thing he would ask me, not the whole big picture, but I got this idea. What do you think? And we have, back and forth. And that's how I was starting Star Anvil Studios. And so I went to play Mobile. So I was like, I looked at all the stuff. They said, gosh, some of these things should be Savage World settings. But I was like, Phase World.
That's what you wanted.
I said, there's more I want, but I want it all. But no, I mean, that's not really an option, right? So Phase World made the most sense because there's a built-in fan base for Savage Rifts. It's in the same setting, but not. I mean, now that it's separated, but yet you can still play it together because of some certain basic shared concepts like the rifts themselves. I was like, well, this is the ideal one because it already has an established Savage Worlds fan base. So anyway, man, there's so much. I want to do it all. I love Cosmo Knights. I love the Fenrir. But what was the question?
What are you most excited about?
Yeah.
What are you most excited about?
But new art.
Oh yeah.
I really, we did this comic book style, which is highly reminiscent of what we do for Starbreaker.
Yeah.
I want Phase World art, Savage Phase World art, to really kind of not clash with the setting. If they're going to look at Rift's characters and look at this, and it's going to be a complete disconnect. And I also want it to stand apart from Starbreaker and the art we do for that, which is very comic book 90s inspired. And that's on purpose for Starbreaker. I don't want it to feel like you're just buying the same thing twice from us. I want you very different worlds.
Well, and
So
you've proven that you got a good feel for space opera with Starbreaker. So I'm really excited about the fact that like you're tackling the space fantasy opera of Phase World.
where do you think some of my inspiration came from? I mean,
That's right.
there's a wolf species in my Starbreaker setting for a reason. While it's not Quatoria, never was. It's just
Yeah.
I like. It's like that looks cool. I like that idea, or to a degree. Now let me go make my own thing that has a wolf in it because I just love that idea.
Yeah.
Or something like that. I mean, obviously, Starbreaker doesn't have like Cosmo Knights, never will. It's a whole different kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
But I
No, no,
mean, it's just
they are completely different
but
lines,
but
but
some of
there's
the
some
yeah,
design
well,
chops there. Yeah.
Kevin Long's art inspired the way I look at art. So if you look at like the in my setting, the Star Marines, and you were to look at the art for say the NGR,
Yeah. Triax and the NPR.
yeah, it's not the same, but you can see like how I had that. So my art for that, for example, the guys, the NGR to have that Cyclops head thing. I gave my guys like some spider looking eyes, but it was inspired like, what's that iconic look there? Well, what do I do that makes it mine? But it was just that the way they did stuff so inspired me, and so like when you look at the art for some of the spaceships in Phase World is just
Yeah.
really cool. If we can bring a little more realism to it, and we don't want to change anything, but obviously when you draw a more realistic look, some of those it will change a little, but you want it to be the same.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you look at the cover, I think it's the Three Galaxies that has the or which one has the Cosmonite with the two hammers.
Yeah.
That's a very different look in some ways because of that painted, more three-dimensional look than the three Cosmo Knights in their black and white that are standing with the Centaur one, the lady with the four arms,
Yeah.
and the guy with the big hammer and the winged helmet. I mean, very different but the same. So you get the idea. It's more that realism brings a certain the volume of the armor looks there, and versus
Yeah.
that flat kind of look, which they're both great. They're both
Oh
inspirational
yeah.
for art, but yeah, I want to capture more of that the art from the covers type style to a sense. It's very different. It's not gonna be the same artist, obviously, but that's what we want to get what they did like that.
Yeah. I I've talked to a lot of people who talk about how inspirational Riffs was for them, both art wise and just imagination wise,
Oh,
especially when it came out in the 90s and we were all like, what is
it,
going on with this setting?
everything.
Yeah. Yeah, everything.
Do you want to
Everything
play a
everywhere all at
cyborg and a
once.
dragon? Here they are.
Yeah.
A wizard, Leyline Walker. There it is.
Yeah.
Um, the idea that you can play a dragon and it fits in the setting
From day
is
one.
cool. Yeah, from day
Yeah.
one. I mean, and the way Savage Rifts had handled that and made it all, because Rifts has been around so long, so many of those books had spread out so much information that Rifts does a more broad view of it, and so they can really kind of help you get a bigger grasp of the setting with less books if you want to get into it. It's a little less to digest all at once, but
Yeah.
yet all the
Does.
Rifts books are great resource material.
Oh
So
yeah.
you could go buy them for all the ideas. And I think while Phase Worlds have as many books, you're going to get, and we're going to go a little more deep and a little more intense because we have 5 books. So we're looking at the first 2
Yeah.
and seeing what we can draw from those to make our first book. Like, it's Dimension Book 2 and 3 because one was Wormwood.
Wormwood,
So
which is also just
it's a whole different ball of wax. That's a whole other world.
yeah.
um, so if we're going to see what we can just bring into that, and we actually want to capture most of it, but there's no way to capture all those 2 books in one book. I think
Great.
we're going to get a lot in there, and of course, we don't want to do all one book and be done. I mean, that's not way for we can't do a 500-page book and be done. The company won't make it. That's just not the way you survive.
Yeah.
But
And again, if this one does well, hopefully there are more Three Galaxy.
absolutely. I mean, exactly what we'll do yet I can't say, but let's just say I wanted to do like a good plan might be the CCW book, or and then or we could do the Thundercloud Galaxy, the Anvil Galaxy, the Corkscrew Galaxy. We could, however we want to break it up. There's easily 3 more books, and not to mention we are getting to add a little new lore. We're not changing the lore whatever way we want. It's not willy-nilly, whatever. For example, from rear art instead of Woofin.
Yeah.
But there will be no Splugorth in Phase World, because that belongs to Rifts. So we get to add a new Cthulhu-esque inspired
Very cool.
thing. And it affects the setting less than people think it does. I mean, yeah, there are some minions and there's some mentioning, but honestly, the Kriegor are a bigger
Way bigger threat.
story. You know, so if you need some, really big bads, you got Dominators.
Yep.
There's we're going to get to do that new thing, and then of course eventually we get to tackle the United Worlds of Warlock, right?
Oh yeah.
Because that's got the least amount of stuff on it, because that book doesn't exist yet. So I mean, anything we do though will be like, hey Kevin, what are your ideas first?
Yeah.
And he can give us his, like, hey, I thought of this and this, and then we're going to go in line with that. We think what we read here, what you told us, we think this and this, and he might say, absolutely not, that's not my vision. Yes, sir.
That's right.
I mean, he's, in the end, it's got to fall back to what Palladium wants. So anything we add is canon, as is for Savage Rifts.
Yeah.
Anything Savage Phase World does is canon and will be the story going forward for that setting. And so
that's awesome.
It's cool to get to add a little bit to the setting, but not change the setting per se. I mean, yes, Blue-Gorth are gone, but that role, that position of that type of creature is being filled. So you'll get new creatures, new art, new lore. And people have been wanting more stuff for Phase World for a long time. I mean, they want the setting to grow. So this is where it will grow. And then of course, everything we do, Palladium owns the lore. So whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah.
Who knows what they might do with it someday? I mean, I can't tell you what their plans are or are not, because they don't tell me.
That's right. But
I'm not privy to that, not the big term stuff, but
like you said, like there's nothing that says if in your head canon, the Splugorth are instrumental to a Phase World campaign. Well, my friend, have Savage Rifts right here.
You can still use them if you want to. It's your once it's at your table, your world. You can just take what we did and go, I like that, and go, hey, there's so much great stuff here, but I really still love the Splugorth. Well, you could do what you want at your table, but we can't put it in the book because that's not something we're going to own the IP to. That's the beauty of role-playing games. We all do it. We take another book from any setting and go, I love this bad guy. I love this story. I mean, think about, like, you take a story where there's the wizard in the tower, right?
Yeah.
And the heroes have to go save them. Well, what if the tower was a tall spaceship?
Yeah.
Like I say, that's landed on a planet, and the wizard is, instead is a warlock from the United Worlds of Warlock, and then the hero is a Cosmo Knight. Yeah. And you can take the same story and fit it into the setting.
100%.
And so these different ideas you find. So yeah, the fact that you can draw from any of those books is going to be fantastic. I mean, there's ideas you could find from Lost Colony, I'm sure, and like, oh, that's a cool idea. I want that in my setting. But I mean, it's Savage Worlds. That's the beauty of Savage Worlds and Palladium together, is we have all these settings. Like Savage Worlds has all these worlds that you could draw from that have the similar rules, and then 100%. You've got all Palladium source material, and there's even a savaging, how to savage your stuff into Rifts that would largely apply to building stuff for Savage Phase World when the time comes. So I think it's there's so many options it's going to give to people. And like I said, it's great. We've delivered 4 projects already. That'll be 5.
Secret World. You've done First Starbreaker. You've done Enemies Unleashed. Star Marines is coming out soon.
We did Secret World 5e, Secret World Savage Worlds. Yeah. We did.
You've got 6 or
4. 4 done. 5th one about to be done.
Yeah.
And Secret World will be done before this gets delivered. So that'll be 6. So, I mean, we keep delivering our products. We're comfortable enough where we'll start another one while we're still finishing up the other one.
Yeah.
Because we've shown that we deliver. But this is just it's a whole other ball of wax. You gotta do the printing stuff. That was another learning thing for us to went to the printers and negotiated contracts or find about costs and other stuff. So that's been was a whole other thing that made it take longer before I felt like, okay, do we really want to do this printed? Is that something I want to offer?
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge deal to jump into that.
Yeah. It adds a lot of money to because you have to pay for the printing costs. And so your numbers go up a lot with that.
Yeah. So 100%. Well, Brandon, thanks for joining us. I'm really excited about this. Follow the link in the show notes. Let's make Savage Phase World happen.
Yeah. Let's make it blow up so we can do book 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thanks.